Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Glad you're here. Welcome back to Red Mike Messages. Now, when I started Red Mike Messages 2 years ago, I, I sort of made a promise to myself and to y'all that I would try to not repeat topics. And I've done a pretty good job of that. Now, some have been echoes, but I've not purposefully gone back and rewritten a previous post. But I got to thinking about it, particularly in those very early days from right at 2 years ago. Didn't have a whole lot of people following. In fact, I still don't have a whole lot of people following, but I thought, I'm going to dust off some of the really old messages and repurpose them a little bit and go back to them because I think there were some good messages there that maybe you haven't heard before. If you have, I apologize, but I'd appreciate you listening again. So without further ado, here's today's Red Mike message. Now, if you've ever watched Ted Lasso, and if you've listened to me much, you know that I have seen the entire series a couple, three times, love it. One of his biggest piece of advice to Sam Obasanya was be a goldfish. And the whole idea was goldfish supposedly have a very short memory. So when you make a mistake, don't carry it around all day, learn from it, and move on. And that's really great advice. If you've ever coached, if you've ever managed a team, if you've ever tried to lead, if you dwell on mistakes, they start multiplying. They build on themselves. You stop reacting to what's happening now and you keep reacting to what already happened. So, yes, when it comes to mistakes, definitely be a goldfish. But I want to add something to that. Be a duck. Now, for the gray hair set like me, Tom Landry will always be one of the two greatest coaches in Dallas Cowboys history. Now, back when the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls and Landry was standing on the sidelines in his fedora, he had a simple explanation for his form of leadership. He said, leadership is having people look at you and gaining confidence by seeing how react. In other words, if you are in control, they feel like things are in control as well. So apply that to a duck floating on a pond. On the surface, everything is calm. The water's clear. The duck's gliding along like nothing in the world is bothering it. No waves, no splashing, no chaos. And that's what everybody sees. But if you look underneath the water, those feet are paddling like crazy. And that's because that's where the real work is happening. That relates to the whole reason I started having these Red Mike message conversations. Red Mike messages, of course, are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. And one of the things I have learned through all of those years is that people don't just listen to leaders, they watch them. Your staff watches you during meetings. They watch you on the sideline. Your family watches you when something goes wrong or when something goes right. Not to just hear what you say, but to see how you react because people take emotional cues from the leader. If the leader looks panicked, everybody panics. If the leader looks frustrated or overwhelmed, everybody's going to tighten up. But if the leader looks calm, if they look steady, if they look sure of themselves, people settle down and they start looking for solutions with you. I saw it in kid football all the time. If the coach starts yelling and losing his cool on the sidelines, the kids, they tighten up. They stop playing fast. They start playing scared. Mistakes multiply because everybody's reacting to the temperature rise that coach has done. They react to the chaos instead of focusing on their fundamentals, instead of focusing on the next play. But if the coach can stay calm, the players reset quicker. They line up again. They run the next play. Same field, same players, but a different reaction. And you see the same thing in the workplace. A project hits a problem, a deadline slips by, something breaks that wasn't supposed to. Everybody in the room starts looking at the person in charge, not because they expect that person to have every answer right away, but because they're all trying to figure out one thing. Are we okay? Most of the time, they decide the answer before the leader ever says a word. Leadership is emotional gravity. People take their cues from the person steering the boat. So, yes, learn from Ted Lasso. Be a goldfish when it comes to mistakes. Don't carry yesterday's problems into today's work. But when it comes to leadership, be a duck, calm on the surface, paddling like crazy underneath. Because if you're in control, the people around you are going to feel like things are in control too. And that confidence is exactly what can sometimes keep the team moving forward. The difference between progress and being stagnant. Most leadership moments aren't calm at all. Budgets are tight, deadlines are close. And again, things break. But the team doesn't need to see the splashing under the water. They just need to see the duck still making progress. Because again, they don't just listen to what you say, they watch. Your reaction is going to set that emotional tone for the entire team. Work as hard as you need to behind the scenes, but give them the confidence that comes from calm, rational, steady leadership on the surface. Because sometimes the most powerful signal you can send is just, it's calm. Come on in. The water's fine. And that's today's Red Mike message. Hope you found it interesting or helpful. Thank you for being here. I hope that these daily lessons are helpful. If they are, give me a like, a follow, and a share. If you think I'm full of crap, let me know down in the comments. I love you guys. And until next time, as always, don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you tomorrow.